but I guess they got complaints that it was too violent for the kids. Yeah. So they decided
people complain the second one's too goofy.
Yeah, they decided to change it. So and for some reason they recasted. I think April was different, and Shredder was different, and everybody was sort of, and Casey, Casey was gone, and all that stuff. But yeah, they just, I'm an actor. I went for the audition, and it's always good to be working.
People still come up to you and notice you more from Shredder. You got a great body of work. I also love 21 and Over, by the way. You were a mean asshole father in that movie.
Yeah, that's my specialty these days. Okay.
You're just good at being an asshole.
I am always. First of all, it's been like 25 years. So when the movies came out a long time ago, I was always surprised that people recognize me because like I said, you just see the eyes, and I'm like, well, how do kids recognize me? And I said, well, how do you? What are you talking about? How can you tell it's me? And they said, no, we know it's you. Okay. Okay.
And then Mark, so you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but Rahzar is a new character for the second movie. He was not in the comic book. He's in the awesome Turtles in Time video game for Super Nintendo. But he was a new character. Were you a fan of Turtles when you got the part? And why are you so tall?
I had never heard of the Turtles when I got this call. So I didn't know anything about it. I just went in for this interview, and they asked me to do some forward rolls and stand up. And I did that. There was like 40 of us in there. So I did what I did, and they liked it. And I was called back, and fortunately it was like little guys like Nick and Stephen Ho and Bernie Reyes Jr., they were all at this interview. And they pulled me to the side, and they said, if you were to do a flip, I bet you they would just stand up and applaud. I was the only one they told that to, so when I went out for the second part of the audition, doing this little fight scene, I did this backflip, hit the ground, and the producer stood up and clapped, and I walked out with the job. I didn't know who Rahzar was. I didn't know anything about the Turtles. I didn't know who they were. So, and it tried to kill them a long time afterwards.
Nice. Okay, so really quick with Nick and Mark. When you were actually filming the famous, of course, ninja rap scene, how brutally hot was that? Was music actually playing? Did you pantomime to that? I mean, that's the best scene of the movie, I think. But was that you actually doing the moves?
Dance? No, actually it wasn't. And to be quite honest, I'm considered what I like to be considered as the action hero. So, thank you. We're still fighting, by the way. But anyway, no, actually, I like to say that I'm the action hero because I did all the martial arts, gymnastics, and flips for the character Mikey. We actually had what I call the actual stuntman who did the racket throws when Donatello goes flying across the junkyard scene or the air ram when he throws Mikey into the disco. That was done by Tom DeWeer, and he did that across the board. He did Shredder's high fall in the first movie. He did all the turtle stunts. So I'm considered.
I do my own stunts.
Well, yes, I do.
And I do my own acting.
And he does his own acting too. That's what he does. No. I did his close-ups though.
All right, so let's open it up to a few questions. Just raise your hands. Yes, Crystal, my best friend. I thought it was okay. It was whatever. Nothing. It doesn't even touch the third movie, which is terrible. So.
I saw it, and my 9-year-old daughter loves it. So it was very entertaining, and I mean, the CGI stuff is amazing. I don't know if it was just me or I'm being biased, but I kind of miss the guys in the suit. There's like a little more heart to it or something. The new movies it's very flashy and entertaining, and it's great. It's just not quite the same.
Yeah, I did see it. I did see it, and I thought the characters were a little bit difficult for me at the very beginning to get used to them. But a quarter way through the movie, I was enjoying it. So, yeah, I liked the movie. It was entertaining.
All right.
I also gave it 2 thumbs up.
Yep, you right there.
Do you guys have any stories from the set that we may have never heard before?
Well, I do. I do. Sure.
Yes.
Well, okay. Well, one big one. When they're in the junkyard scene and Ralphie's tied up on a stake, and the three turtles are in the junkyard scene, and Mikey goes, there's Ralphie. He goes, a little too Ralphie. Anyway, when they get caught in the cargo net and it's going up, and when we actually shot that scene, it was actually a cable attached to a hydraulic lift off the soundstage. So it's supposed to take us up about 10 feet like that, just up like that. All right, so we were going in there, and it's Stephen Ho, which is the Donatello action turtle, and Larry Lamb and myself. We're sneaking around in the turtle suits. We get in the cargo net, and it's going up about 8 feet off the floor. It snapped.
Did someone break their ankle doing that?
Yes, and here's the reason what happened. We had a steel frame that outlined, so that we would have been bunched up on the cargo net. So they had a steel frame on the outside. As we landed, and I mean it was just that fast, as we landed, that steel frame landed on Stephen Ho's ankle. Stephen Ho is Conan's stunt guy, who teaches Conan on the Conan show. I don't know if you guys know who Stephen, that's Stephen Ho. Anyway, that frame broke his ankle in 3 places, and his ankle immediately swelled up, like that. And if they didn't get him out there immediately, he would have lost his ankle. And Larry Lamb compressed his back, because of the jarring of when we landed. A week before, I had, in the disco scene, I had slammed my inner knee against the sound stage, and there was something wrong with it, but that ultimately severed my MCL, basically, my medial-clavicle ligament. Unbeknownst to me, though, because we did finish the movie about 3/4 of the way through, so that's
I'm glad you didn't die.
Yeah, it would have messed up my day, too. Yeah.
I just want to clear something up on that, because I do stunts. I still do stunts, coordinate, and I rig. That particular accident, they had already done all the tests. Everything was working well. Over the weekend, there was electrical fire up in the perms that nobody made notice of or told anybody within the stunt crew that there was an electrical fire. That electrical fire was right next to the steel cables, so that heat lowered the tensile strength of that cable. So when they finally picked them up, that's why it broke. It was not anything that they were doing wrong. It was electrical fire that created that accident.
That's crazy. I think that out of all the Q&As I've done, that's a pretty intense screw-up. That's bad.
Well, here's the thing, too. I mean, really quickly, but three years later, Brandon Lee filmed The Crow on that sound stage.
Okay, that's the worst accident.
No, of course, because he ultimately paid with his life. No. But anyway, that's my story.
All right, is there another? Yep.
What was the character development process like? Because for all of you, hang on, I have more. Because for all of you, there was none of your characters were composed by a single performer. Even as the face of Shredder, that was a dubbed role. For something brought on late, you had to dub over, an actor who's in a suit who has to coordinate with someone who's doing the mouth control and all the fine motion. I just want to know what the communication process was like to making all those happen together.
I had 6 weeks that I sat down with my puppeteer, who basically was doing the animatronics of it. For 4 of them weeks, all I had was a blank mask on. So everything I did in front of a mirror. I did all scenarios, learning to watch ping pong, trying to speak everything through my face without any kind of motion, and then using my whole body to do that. When I was doing Rahzar, I was in 3.5-inch slips. I was 7'4" when it was all done. And this is how I worked the whole time. I was looking down, I could only see 3 foot around me. So all the fights I did with Nick, I never saw him. All I could see was his feet. So as I walked and I ran, everything I did was looking down. So all that training is I had to learn for that 6 weeks was to get Rahzar's face, who had to look down at the turtles, and make all the movements this way. So there was a lot of character development with the Henses, which are the tops of it all. I was very honored to have that 6 weeks to work with them, because it made it so much easier. And by the time we got on set, and all I can hear is Gordon, who was my puppeteer at the time. I could only hear him. He could never hear me. So if I'm yelling, screaming, he didn't really care. But it got to the point where if I was turning around and I looked and I was right here next to Shredder, his face would start doing stuff, but I know he was there. And I would just make this move, and he'd just make something like, hey, boy. You know, it became one when we worked together. It was really easy, but it was that 6 weeks of training and character development.
2 more questions. I can't see in the back.
Way in the back.
Yeah, way out there, the light.
Which one's your favorite turtle and why?
I think that's probably for everyone, right? Who's ever, well, I mean, you're probably biased, right?
For me, it's Michelangelo, because I got to beat him up all the time.
But yeah, so for you two, who's your favorite turtle?
Well, since he's standing right next to me. I think the ones that taste best. I have no favorite turtle.
Turtle soup.
Yeah, the ones that made the best turtle soup, which might be.
All right, one more question.
Wait, what did Donnie say?
Oh, definitely Donnie. Because Donnie's a nerd.
Woo!
All right, one more. There's in the back. Yes, go.
What's your favorite scene of childhood for everybody?
Very generic, but great.
I like the scenes where I was sitting down in the throne. Because I didn't have to move too much. And, you know, the change in the Shredder character, I guess, when I saw it from the first movie, was for some reason they gave him this big, huge, long cape to wear everywhere. And then, you know, the first couple of times I was doing it, it was like, oh, it's kind of hard to get used to. So, and the helmet was really steel. It was pretty heavy. So, yeah, I would say that my favorite scenes were when I was sitting and not moving. Didn't have to move the head too much, you know, just looking and, you know, looking at the eyes, and then that was pretty good.
Well, I was just going to mention, I enjoyed working with Mark, actually. I learned a lot from him, and I enjoyed it. I got to tell you that.
Can you hug? Yeah, there you go.
Nick and I have stayed close friends from the day we met, and that's the only reason I'm here today is Nick called me and said he'd come down. A year ago, I think you gave me a call to come down for Power Rangers, and I didn't make it
Oh,
for
that's
that.
right. You were freaking Lord Zed.
I was
Yeah, and you
Lord
were
Zed.
Babu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we just go, oh, damn? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that was good. Next to you. All right. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So you should come out for Power Rangers because, all right. Well, I was going to say for the Power Ranger fans, the Turtle fans, something I just worked out with Steve Cardenas, who's Rocky in the film. I met with Karan, David Yost, and Johnny Young Bosch. And so far, next year's the 20th anniversary of that movie, and it's looking like January, February, we're going to have a full-blown reunion up here.
Woo! Yeah!
You saw the trailers. We got Bride of Chucky, Don Mancini, Jennifer Tilly, Alexis Arquette, Nick Stabile, and someone else. They're like all here. And we've got that, Scream 2, then a week after that, probably going to have Wes Craven. That's a secret. And then, yeah, Jawbreaker, we're having the official cast 15th anniversary reunion here. And then, yeah, 10 Things I Hate About You. We're going to have as well some cast and crew. So please follow me on MovieDude18 at Twitter. Tweet what movies you want to see. I can see what cast I can get, and we can try to make this happen as the Cine family, the Nuart, the New Bev, and all that good stuff. And thank you guys for coming out here. The very last thing is my best friend of 20 years is moving to LA, and he's here tonight. He flew in 2 days ago. He's never experienced something like this. He's never watched a midnight movie with an audience like this. So make it fucking roar. Please.